You may have heard of sulfur as that yellow stuff with a distinct smell, or maybe from the smell of rotten eggs, which comes from hydrogen sulfide and sulfur compound. But here's a key question. What macromolecules is sulfur found in? This answer might surprise you. Sulfur is found in proteins. Specifically, it's in certain amino acids called cysteine and methane. These sulfur-containing amino acids are essential for making proteins, the large molecules that do everything from building tissue to acting as enzymes and signaling molecules inside cells. So sulfur is literally at the heart of life's machinery. Without it, proteins wouldn't fold correctly and cells wouldn't function properly. Now that we know sulfur's important in our biology, let's talk about where sulfur hangs out in nature. What are some natural reservoirs of sulfur? Now, sulfur has a few main homes. First, the Earth's crust. Sulfur is locked up in minerals like gypsum and pyrite, known as fool's gold. These minerals contain vast stores of sulfur underground. Next is the ocean. Seawater contains dissolved sulfite ions. Sulfur bonds to oxygen, making the ocean a huge sulfur reservoir. Then there's sediments in lakes and oceans trap sulfur over long periods. And finally, there are living organisms themselves. Plants take up sulfur from the soil. Animals get it from eating plants or other animals, and microbes process sulfur in various other ways. So sulfur cycles through rocks, water, air, and life itself, constantly moving and changing forms. But here's where things get complicated. Human activity has shaken up the sulfur cycle quite a lot. Have you ever heard about the environmental problems caused by burning coal? Coal contains sulfur. When coal is burned for energy in power plants or other industries, sulfur is released into the atmosphere as sulfur dioxide. This is a gas that contributes to air pollution and has a dark environmental legacy. You might wonder, how exactly is this burning of coal linked to sulfur? Well, the sulfur trapped in coal combusts and forms sulfur dioxide gas, which is then emitted into the air. Once it's in the atmosphere, sulfur dioxide doesn't just float around harmlessly. It actually reacts with the water vapor and oxygen up in the air. It triggers a chemical process that creates acid rain. Sulfur dioxide reacts with water and oxygen to form sulfuric acid. Here's the equation. This sulfuric acid mixes with raindrops and falls back to the earth as acid rain. Acid rain might sound kind of poetic, but it is not harmless. It acidifies soil and freshwater ecosystems, harming the plants, aquatic animals, and even corrodes buildings. Acid rain was a huge environmental problem in the 20th century, especially near industrial regions. So, if burning coal is such a big culprit, you might ask, what human activity has the greatest impact on the sulfur cycle? The answer? Industrial activity, especially fossil fuel composition. Power plants, factories, and vehicles release sulfur dioxide into the air in huge quantities, dramatically increasing the sulfur emissions compared to natural sources like volcanoes. This human-driven increase disrupts the natural sulfur cycle, causing pollution and ecological harm. But it's not all doom. We have made progress in reducing sulfur emissions by using technologies like flue gas scrubbers, which remove sulfur from smokestack gases, and by switching to cleaner energy sources. These little steps have helped reduce acid rain and air pollution in many parts of the globe. And finally, let's summarize why understanding the sulfur cycle matters. Sulfur is essential for life. It cycles through the Earth's crust, oceans, atmospheres, and living things. Human activities, partially burning coal, releases sulfur dioxide, which leads to acid rain. Acid rain harms ecosystems and human infrastructure. Our industrial emissions have the biggest impact on the cycle, but with this awareness and technology, we can reduce our footprint. The sulfur cycle might be invisible to most of us, but it's a vital threat in Earth's systems, showing just how interconnected life and the environment really is.